Aaron was just as taken aback by this news as Kara was, judging by the expression on her face. "Really?" was all that he managed to say. Trogodon nodded grimly.
"But we both have a plan of attack," he said. "She will travel to Evergreen and present herself before the voice of the forest, and I will do the same with Kamkanzakur. If the king gives our love his seal of approval, I will be able to smash in the head of any dwarf who dares to make snide remarks about us."
"Dwarfs," said Falk, grinning. "You just have to hand it to them."
"Well, at least I don't have to ask a squirrel for permission," grumbled the blacksmith.
"The voice is a chipmunk, remember?" corrected Aaron.
"Oh, I am sorry," said Trogodon with a gravelly laugh. "That is completely different, of course."
Aaron withdrew from the bantering and looked around thoughtfully. The command tent was furnished exactly as he had expected, a hurricane lamp hanging from the central pillar, with a large table beside it, and a map of the defensive ring laid out on top of it. Half a dozen chairs were positioned around the table, and panels of fabric hanging from the sides served as bunks. In addition, there were wine jugs and a beer keg, as well as a selection of dried fruit and cold roast meat sitting on a wooden chest of drawers situated discreetly against a wall. Fresh straw was strewn across the floor, its dusty smell tickling Aaron's nostrils, and for a heartbeat or so he imagined himself back in a very similar tent during the military campaign in occupied Hajalgar.
"Muai is eating all my food,"
complained Cullen, rousing Aaron from his reverie. "You're a big wolf now," the paladin replied with a chuckle. "You can defend yourself." Immediately he heard a muffled growl and loud snarling coming from outside the tent, while Kara laughed out loud. "Muai is complaining that Cullen doesn't share fairly," she told the others. Trogodon had already grabbed the beer keg and brought it to the table in the middle. Now he sat down on one of the chairs and rested his short legs on the tabletop.
"We should be happy that they're keeping each other occupied," said the dwarf, filling his tankard and downing it in one go. Then he smacked his lips in satisfaction and continued, "If the two of them worked together, I'm sure they could intimidate the cooks into giving them all the meat they wanted."
The growling and hissing from outside stopped immediately, with both Aaron and Kara exchanging horrified looks as they simultaneously picked up on their respective animal companions' thought processes. "Damn and blast it," muttered the young man, glaring at the dwarf as the sounds of paws quickly padding away could be heard. "They heard what you said, you know." Trogodon grinned at both Aaron and Kara.
"Oops,"
he said, before draining his second tankard.